The coronation will be a 2-hour ceremony at Westminster Abbey right here, riding centuries of history and tradition, but with several new touches. The sequence of rituals, and there will be many, will follow a logic of their own. Within Westminster Abbey, faith leaders and governors generals of the realms and prime ministers or their representatives with their flags carried on their behalf will move first into the abbey. The king and Camilla will follow, preceded by ceremonial staff carrying the regalia, which is a collection of precious royal objects. Their majesties will then be seated on the chairs of estate newly done up for the occasion. A choir will start the ceremonies, followed by the service beginning with the recognition. That is when the king will be presented to the congregation at each of the cardinal points of the compass within to be recognized as the undoubted king. Next, the king takes oath. Following that, Prime Minister Sunak will read the epistle. After that, the Dean of Chapel Royals will read the Gospel, and the Archbishop of Canterbury will then deliver a sermon. The king then sheds his robe of state and moves for the anointing to the coronation chair behind a screen. The Archbishop of Canterbury, the Archbishop of York, and the Dean of Westminster will then anoint the king on his hands, breast, and head. He will then be presented with the regalia by persons for the first time of different faiths. He will then offer the sword, so to speak, to the Lord President of the Council for a coin bag that contains 100 newly minted 50-pence coins with the king's head on them. At the conclusion of all this, the Archbishop of Canterbury will crown the king with St. Edward's crown. The congregation will at that moment cry, "God save the king." The bells will ring, a fanfare will be sounded, and the gun salutes will be fired. The king will be escorted then to the throne chair. Homage will be offered, and the queen will then be anointed by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The service at the abbey will last about 2 hours. Their majesties at the end move back to the chairs of estate before heading out in the return procession and for that balcony appearance at Buckingham Palace. The coronation procession is due to leave about 1730 IST and due to return to Buckingham Palace about 1800 IST. Of note, through the way back and in the procession to Westminster Abbey, the king's brother Andrew and his son Harry will not be there.